What is going on, guys? This is Bradley alongside Zach, and you are listening to the Charm City Sideline podcast as we are live on Thursday, October 30th. The Ravens defeat the Dolphins 28-6. Baltimore improves to 3-5. Second win in a row. Miami falls to 2-7. Obviously, the return of Lamar Jackson, first game in a month, with 4 passing touchdowns today. Obviously, a great performance all around. Second half, definitely better than the first half. Zach, what are your initial thoughts coming out of this one?
Man, it's a great win. The first half, like you kind of talked about there, is, it was getting our feet wet. Like we had to see the team kind of settle and then fully shake the rust off, I guess, offensively too, with Lamar and how honestly clean and precise he was looking by the end of that game. That was impressive for many, many reasons. Defense played lights out. 3 turnovers. Love it, love it, love it. And like Nate's saying in the chat, no touchdowns allowed. I am always a fan of that when we're talking about the Ravens, especially as of late.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, like you mentioned, 3 turnovers to 0. We've talked about this maybe every single preview since starting the pod. If you win the turnover battle, you're usually going to win the game. The Dolphins, am I correct? The Dolphins won the toss and received, I think.
Zreepik's tweets were
Yeah, it was kind of confusing.
that it was the Miami that won it, and then it was Ravens that won it. So I really don't know. I think that it was the Ravens who won it and decided to.
Okay, well, either way, Eskridge returned the kick to the 43, Miami's 43. And then first play of the game, Tua hits Waddle for 20. And they're already at the Ravens' 37-yard line. Yeah. But after that, defense holds strong, and they just give up a field goal. So Ravens, fall down 3-0. But I don't know about you, Zach, but I was pretty happy after, give up a big kick return, one big play, and then basically a 3-and-out. After that, with how many games the Ravens have started down 7-0, this was a positive for me.
Yeah. Especially with, a quick little 1-2 from Miami there. Good special teams play, and then a 20-yard bomb. And then really I think the whole game, Achane and their running game looked pretty good. So they, especially in the first half, were gashing us very well. And I thought that they would be in this game. And that's usually the story of how they do stay in the game. So a scary looking start if we're just talking about, the first drive or two.
First couple plays, yeah.
Yeah, even that.
Yeah, and then Ravens obviously get the ball back and 3-and-out to start the game. Bateman had a really nice route on a 3rd and 3 down on the bottom of your screen if you're watching the, normal broadcast copy. Sort of a quick out to get open, and Lamar, it was a very obvious rust moment in my opinion, like hasn't played in a month, kind of threw it at Bateman's feet. I feel like that was kind of like whatever. I mean, they looked decent because Lamar at Flowers for 7 on 2nd down, and yeah, that guy was not happy. So whatever, and we won't need to spend too much time on that 3-and-out. Obviously, just inaccurate throw from Lamar on 3rd down. And then Dolphins get the ball back after a punt, and then you have Tua passing to Washington for 11 yards, and you have Gilman and Buchanan on the tackle. Gilman strips it out, and it was one of those things where, like, is the ball really out right now? Like, it looked like he was kind of getting held up for so long that you kind of felt like the play was almost over. Then you just see the ball on the ground, hoping the ball doesn't go out of bounds, and you see Gilman pick it up and get a few yards. I mean, what an addition that has been. And, being able to get a turnover after also what was a great punt. I think they were pinned down at their own 4. Yeah. So that was kind of, that all culminated to where it's like a great stout punt who's having a wonderful year, by the way. And then a turnover right off that. I mean, it's just great play in all phases of the game, I would say.
Yeah, especially when you have that rust and the defense can provide you with the big play that says, we got your back here to start out. That's such a weight off of the offense and Lamar's shoulders, the whole team's shoulders, and to see, we're on all phase kicking it right now. It was a great way to start.
Yeah, and Gilman has been solid, but obviously Hamilton being able to play low is what he's been able to do so well. I think Herb Street and Al Michaels were talking a little bit about talking to the Ravens coaching staff, and they've almost been surprised by how well Gilman has filled in, and he's helping other people around him, telling people what to do already just a couple weeks into this defense. And this is when so the Ravens, who I'd say one of the negatives tonight, Zach, is unable to pick up a yard on the ground, at least in the first half.
True.
And after a very solid-looking, tough run from Derrick Henry to get down to the 1, a -1 yard run, and then an incomplete pass. Then you have 4th and goal to 2. Were you in favor of going for this?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I obviously was too. And then they get it not extra point. Play action to Mark Andrews. We talked about the preview show, how good Lamar's been at play action this year. He's been historic in terms of yards per attempt, completion percentage over expected. And Andrews gets his first of 2 touchdowns today.
Love that.
That was good to see them converting. A very strong, confident throw from Lamar, which we still hadn't seen much of him yet. So that was awesome. And then you have the Dolphins get the ball back here. We are rounding out the first quarter. And this is sort of an Achane drive. And Greg Dulcich used to be on the Ravens, right? I'm not tripping. Because if anyone in the comments remembers Greg Dulcich,
I sure don't. That does not sound familiar to me.
With the long hair, I swear he was. But Achane had a 19-yard run, 6-yard run, 22-yard run on this drive, and they have a 4th and 1, Zach, at the 12, and false start, and then just a 35-yard field goal from Riley Patterson, Zach. It was a terrible kick. Off the foot, you knew it was no good, right?
Yeah, and this was the Dolphins kind of kicking themselves. They had what looked like, if McDaniels was that fired up about that false start, the play they wanted and the play that they thought was going to be, if not a first down, at least it could be a touchdown. So
yeah.
I think they had something cooked up and they really shot themselves enough to where it even fell as low as you then completely burn the house down and miss the kick too.
Yeah. That was not good. Terrible kick there from Patterson. Something I forgot to mention on the Dolphins' first drive, which I'm excited to talk about these two guys. The Dolphins' first drive of the game, Mike Green and Malachi Starks both were making plays. Malachi Starks with obviously an exceptional game tonight. Mike Green, I saw make a couple of tackles. On this first drive, he made a tackle on a screen that was sort of behind him. He's running downfield, makes a tackle. I think that was on 2nd or 3rd down. So, but I just want to say both of them played well. I guess we'll just do that now, Zach. I mean, your thoughts on Mike Green and Malachi Starks today? I feel like they both were popping, more so Starks, but they both looked good in my opinion today.
I'll start with Starks because we'd already talked about Gilman too. And in our preview / Q&A pod, this last one that we had, we talked so highly about wanting the safeties to make their mark on this game. And we should pat ourselves on the back, Brad. I mean, we kind of home run hit that one. I mean, both of them made some serious plays tonight. But Starks was the game breaker for that. We've been calling and waiting for that splash play. That is the exact wording that we were saying in that last one. And he came through tonight, at least with that pick. But even starting early, Green and him were flying to the ball. I felt like, not discounting any other Raven, the whole defense was flying to the ball and was right there on a bunch of plays, a bunch of potential turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like that players are now in situations and spots to make plays and become, the high paid guys that they are, or high caliber, high value players that they are. So the defense played almost as perfect as you could have hoped for. Like, the outside runs might have been the only thing I would say was bad, but roping us back in here, those two as rookies tonight, definitely their best performance as in Starks, and then Green definitely following up a great performance last week.
Yeah, outside runs were tough, and there was maybe 5 to 6 plays where Tua, which it is his greatest strength, just a great anticipation throw in between zones. You saw that a couple times where it kind of looks like a guy's wide open when you're looking at the broadcast view, but then they go and show the replay and you're like, oh, it's just a
It's a
great
window.
anticipatory
Yeah,
throw from
yeah.
Tua, into the window. Yeah, so the Ravens are then up 7-3 after Riley Patterson misses the field goal. And then the Ravens have a 7-play, 75-yard touchdown drive, Zach. A 10-yard pass to Flowers, 6-yard run from Henry. And then the 3rd and 4 Lamar Jackson pass to Isaiah Likely
Clutch.
down the right sideline. A little bit of concern. We've heard about Isaiah Likely. You and me have both shut it down. We basically said, let him play with Lamar for a few weeks, right?
Yeah, giving him, at least one full opportunity to, and I'll give you credit too. You had a lot more push to that. I was sitting here thinking, maybe he just needs, a handful more weeks to get fully grasped into, NFL level speed and everything too.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, there's a reason he's out there with him. And today was a great case of their connection showcased.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, scramble drill Likely always seems to be one of the guys that Lamar trusts the most in those situations. 3 catches for 60 yards today. Pretty good day for Isaiah. Definitely best game of the year for him. And after a short run for Derrick Henry, you're looking at a 2nd and 7 at the 20. And Lamar hits Andrews for the 2nd touchdown. Busted coverage for sure. This was a play, I think I noticed on this touchdown to Andrews, Keaton Mitchell was on the field and no play action. I'm like, exactly. Like the ball doesn't have to go to Keaton Mitchell, right? Like he's on the field, you're running a normal drop back pass. Andrews is wide open, touchdown. And we obviously saw a lot of Keaton Mitchell today, but I'm glad to see the Ravens finally having, and I know this is literally an Andrews touchdown, but finally have Keaton Mitchell on the field when it's not just a gadget play for him. That was good to see. Obviously, coverage bust for the Dolphins on this play, but great find by Lamar to get him in the end zone. Good to see Andrews score 2 touchdowns in the first 16 minutes of this game. So that was good to see.
Yeah, I think someone said it perfectly. It might have been Herb Street. That tight ends day came late for Lamar Jackson because he had the week off. So, yeah, 3 touchdowns to tight ends today. I mean, that's pretty perfect. And 2 of them being Andrews. I had some real thoughts about, I guess, Likely and Andrews going into this game as what you do regarding their contract situation. Like, this game is a big reason why we think so highly about having, maybe not me specifically, having both, and the luxury it is to have 2 elite level tight ends. I'm scared of really the future of deciding between one of them, maybe what the numbers will look like now. Like, I think this might be just a little kind of question for you too. The connection with Andrews feels more like raw in a way that it is always there, almost no matter what. Like in a Steelers situation, they try and take it away, but in a Likely situation, it's almost always like an option. Like he's always available in the second play, like you mentioned the scramble drill. So like for both of them, do you have like thoughts about, I mean, I don't know, the future of them with this team too? Because I guess I'm just curious about what that'll look like for the Ravens, because I assume both of them will want their money, but as of through, 8 weeks, not including tonight, neither one of them had really shown that they were worth the big bucks. And tonight was a case that's like, yeah, I mean, Lamar loves having both of them.
Yeah, like last week on my stock up, stock down, like Likely and Andrews were both in the stock down category. I mean, I didn't want to put them there, but I had to. And they're obviously both, along with Kolar, all 3 going to be in stock up this week. It's tough. I think if you have to choose one, you pay Likely. He's younger and at least arguably as good. I think he's better than Andrews as an overall player. I understand Lamar and Andrews have that connection going back to rookie year, coming into the league together. But I do think I do think Likely's a better player right now. I think he has better hands. I think he is better after the catch. I would go with Likely if they had to choose one. Maybe one of them sticks around on a bit cheaper of a deal and they can keep both, but who knows? But obviously a great game from both of them tonight, especially that drive, a long play to Likely and then a 20-yard touchdown to Andrews. Comment from Nate Blake. I keep forgetting that Andrews and Lamar came in together. Andrews looks like an unk. That's pretty funny. High frequencies. I need a t-shirt of Lamar smiling with his grills. I agree. That'd be a good shirt to acquire.
That'd be fun.
After the Ravens go up 14-3 with the Andrews touchdown, Dolphins punt after 5 plays. They picked up a quick first down, and then this is the tripping penalty, Zach, on the 2nd and 1. Tua goes deep right to Jalen Waddle. Malachi Starks hits him at the 7-yard line, and they call tripping on Ollie Gordon. And it turns what was going to be a 1st and goal at the 7-yard line to a 2nd and 16 at the Dolphins' own 42. Personally, I think that was a terrible call. Ravens got a break there. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think I do, because I just hear literally everyone saying it. I think that the reason you call it is because the reason for the penalty is to prevent, injury likely plays. Like, that genuinely that was a scary play for, like, you see, I guess, edge rushers and defensive players, when given that kind of a landing that Mike Green had on the ground, you see them get injured in situations like that. So just reading the definition and the reason for the penalty, it seems like it could be warranted. Maybe in that setting, it doesn't look like it's deliberate, though, as Ollie Gordon kind of gets tripped up on himself. So that's the only reason I'd say the opposite, where you do see it as in the moment, you probably throw the flag because it looks like Ollie Gordon is kind of tripping him, but he didn't do it intentionally, which is the definition of the rule. So I'm going to side with the side that it probably wasn't the right call there. I think you're muted. Brad?
Appreciate it. Yeah, Ravens do get a big break there, because if the Dolphins go down and score, Ravens are only going to have a 14-10 lead. Comment from High Frequencies. Refs were very confusing tonight. There were so many penalties where there's a flag and the ref is being shown on the broadcast and he's like confused, like trying to figure out what to say. And it's obviously very frustrating when you're a fan of one of the teams and you have no idea who the flag is going to be on, what team the flag is going to be on, what the flag is. Yeah. That happened a lot today. After the penalty, it was just an incompletion and then a short yard pass to Achane. And the Dolphins punted. Ravens then go 3 and out. Yeah, this was the Lamar goes deep to Bateman. Could have been holding. I think if I was in that situation, I probably wouldn't have called it. But if they called it, I don't think it would have been a bad call. And Bateman cost the Ravens 15 yards there, yelling at the ref, which was tough because it put them back from the 27 to the 14, and punting from your own 14 is not ideal. And then right after that, the Dolphins return the punt to the Ravens 39, and then there's holding on the Ravens, and then they're at the 29, 1st and 10 at the 29, Zach. Ridiculous. I mean, that was a terrible, terrible sequence right there.
And the Dolphins only walked away with 3 points.
Yeah.
Like, again, total hats off to the defense for stopping that there. This was also the same, like, where the Dolphins had this situation of, I'm so sorry, I got ahead of myself. But still, Ravens stop it. And that's just not the Ravens that we'd seen the first 6 weeks of the year. And it's a legitimate turnaround. This is a incredible stop to only allow 3 points, especially not even giving them another set of downs. I'm not ready to fully turn the leaf on Zach Orr. I heard a lot tonight from a lot of different people that the defense still had, its spots. And
Mhm.
I would even agree with that, as in it was almost the same story as last week. I'm getting a little off topic here, but the same story as last week where the number one wide receiver and the running back have plays where it looks like they're about to make the next level play, but they just
Mhm.
didn't get to it. So
Yeah.
maybe in the future when we play a Jamar Chase or someone like that,
Yeah.
or near the caliber of the
Jefferson
top,
next week.
great example. What does that look like if they're given, a lot more space? Do we just allow those yards and say beat us that way, or what happens? But it's a very interesting topic. But overall, defense has been looking so much better. Just stopping the run. I think Achane still had his moments when he got outside, like we mentioned before. But again, total shutdown defensively and incredible stop here. As like this all happened within the last 6 minutes of
Yeah, yeah.
the
It was
half. Like 5 different changes of
yeah.
possession. What in the world?
It was
It's
kind of a
chaos.
yeah, it was kind of a crazy end of the first half. Adding on to your point there, Zach, last 3 weeks, Rams game, Bears game, Dolphins game, Ravens defense has given up a combined 39 points in 3 games.
I like it.
Before that game, they gave up 37, 38,
Oh no.
17, and 41.
Oh no.
So they have basically given up the same amount of points in the past 3 games that they were giving up every game before. So testament to Zach Orr, testament to the coaching staff. We put that comment at the same time.
Yeah, we did. We got to
David
talk
F. Kyle
about it.
Hamilton at the line of scrimmage. Benjamin Solak did an awesome breakdown on Twitter today about Kyle Hamilton being near the line of scrimmage. We obviously don't have the numbers yet, but in the Bears game, Kyle Hamilton lined up at edge 20% of the time, which is just insane for a safety to do. And we obviously saw him there a lot tonight. We saw him at linebacker next to Teddy and Roquan a lot tonight. In the backfield a ton. That's made a massive difference, and that's why the trade for Alohi Gilman was awesome. Nate Blake, Zach Orr is a post-bye week merchant.
That's a good comment. And what I've learned from Zach Orr the most right now is how his adjustments are, whether it's first half, second half, first half of the year, second half of the year, pre-bye, post-bye. There's a lot of changes that happen weekly that are obvious when you take as much, attention to it as we do every week, and all of us as fans do each week, and notice that there's so many things that they're trying and have finally been able to execute the last 3 weeks. And Hamilton being everywhere has been the answer, along with the fact that they're letting Gilman be a big part of it, Starks be a big part of it, especially tonight. It was obvious. And I'm just so impressed by how Orr has turned it around. And I'll give him credit too, how much the locker room has seemed to buy in no matter what the record has been. It was bad before, and now it's, on the up and now. But hey, overall, just totally impressed with the Ravens and how much they've been able to turn the whole look of the season around. And a great look tonight.
Yeah, we have over 20 people in here right now. I forgot to say to like the video at the beginning. If you guys could like the video right now, that'd help us out a ton. If anyone watching right now is not subscribed, also feel free to subscribe. Zach and I are here 3 episodes a week during the season. And we're also active in the off season, of course. So yeah, we were talking about the sequence of the Bateman penalty and the crazy punt return, and Dolphins have the ball at the 29, go 3 and out. They had a 3rd and 10, and Roquan is matched up one-on-one with Achane, and he sort of ran that classic Madden running back route out to the right when you're running 4 verticals. And the linebacker in real life and in Madden can never cover him. And it's Roquan on Achane, and I'm going to give Roquan a ton of credit. Obviously played great tonight.
He sure did.
That might have been his most impressive play, sticking with Achane there in space, and obviously gave up a 4-yard completion, but sticking with him and knowing the down and distance was awesome. And they hold them to a field goal there. Ravens up 14-6. Ravens with kind of a weird 3 and out here. The first play I liked, another Keaton Mitchell example. Lamar in the gun, Keaton Mitchell next to him. and it's just
A little pass game, Keaton Mitchell there.
yeah, just
Yeah, I like that.
straightforward, turn around about 4 or 5 yards downfield. They pick up 7 there. And then the second example of the first half, Zach, where they cannot pick up a yard with the run game. They had a 2nd and 3 at their own 35, and Derrick Henry runs for 2 yards, and then a 3rd and 1. I believe it was stretched to the left, and Derrick Henry just gets stuffed. I mean, I don't want to say this after the whole entire game because they dominated the second half, but at least in the first half and most of this season so far, the O-line has looked very soft to me when they're in a position of needing to gain a yard or two, and it's just been kind of unfortunate.
And I'll give the O-line a little more credit. I think they played an okay game tonight. Just could have been a lot better. And I think it has a little taste of this Lamar also not being involved in the run game, especially tonight. I mean, I don't think that whenever Lamar is not a factor like he was tonight, maybe he just wasn't, maybe he was reading the defense really well and was just giving off to Henry. We don't really know. We haven't seen it yet. But tonight specifically, without Lamar being the threat, he had one good takeoff on a 3rd down. But tonight, Henry was almost on an island tonight with the O-line. The threat of the quote threat of Lamar was there, but it was mostly just Henry, Ricard as the lead guy. Wherever he was, wherever Ricard was, they were going towards. It felt kind of obvious in a way where I feel bad saying that, as in I thought Monk had called a really good game, but it feels obvious when we treat it with, okay, if Derrick Henry's in the game and Pat Ricard's in the game, follow Pat Ricard. Where that is a difficult thing as a defense to execute. It's also kind of an obvious thing where the Ravens are used to being so this cocky, arrogant kind of thing where it kept working because you have Lamar and the threat of it. But right now, Lamar's not a part of it, especially this game, which I don't have a problem with as I wanted to stay healthy. But overall, the running game just didn't get going. Someone said, I think Nate might have said it. Someone said it. High frequencies. I'm going to say it. Henry runs kind of soft. I was even texting with someone tonight that it seems like the first touch that Derrick Henry is getting is at the line of scrimmage. It wasn't this after contact at like 5 or 6 yards into the run anymore. It's at the line of scrimmage. He's being hit and brought down by the legs. I'm just kind of I'm a little puzzled by the like little bit of Henry discourse, but also kind of just a lack of this stronger, greater looking production, even though we had almost 120 yards tonight. So maybe we're selling it a little different. But I don't know. It's a weird discussion surrounding him.
I saw a conversation on Twitter either yesterday or today that Derrick Henry's known as this like great short yardage power running back, when in reality, he's maybe not great at it, and how efficient Gus Edwards was in these short yardage situations. Was it 2023 maybe where Edwards had like an insane number of touchdowns and a lot of them came from 1 yard out at the goal line? I mean, that year it felt like every time they'd be under center at the 1 or at the 2, and Edwards would score every single time he got the ball. Obviously the O-line was a little bit better then as well. And I do think more, if not most, of the blame goes on the O-line in these situations. I mean, love Linderbaum. He gets blown off a little bit on these stretches. And we've seen Voorhees and Flele. Similarly, Rosengarten has as well sometimes. But it was very unfortunate to see this happen twice in the same game. Obviously, the first time Lamar ends up throwing for the touchdown, which was good to see. But you mentioned it. It's hilarious. Derrick Henry finishes 19 carries, 119 yards, over 6 yards a carry, after it felt like for probably 3 quarters that he couldn't get going. It's just hilarious how inevitable he is.
Inevitable.
It's hilarious. He almost always ends up getting going, no matter how late it is. Dolphins sorry, go ahead.
Even with how this idea that the Ravens fans and I guess the media have seen that Derrick Henry hasn't been super efficient. He had 100+ yards against the Rams. We just, lost it. And then last week, 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. And 2 impressive touchdowns. Plus, I think that tonight was a great case where he just didn't have the touchdown that makes him look so powerful with the stats. But This is the quietest 100, almost, I'm going to say 120 yards, quietest 120 rushing yards you'll find. It was unbelievable. And I'll give a little credit, as in I was talking about the O-line earlier, and them plus Henry, just they had their moments tonight. It just could have been another level better, which honestly I'm okay with.
For sure. Yeah. Dolphins got the ball with about 5 minutes left in the second quarter. And this is when Kyle Hamilton gets injured, which, knock on wood, every time Kyle Hamilton gets injured, he's back in the game like a few plays later. We saw this with Queen. This happened with Patrick Queen all the time. And it got to the point where Patrick Queen would be injured and I wasn't concerned because he just got so many stingers. Maybe got the air knocked out of him a couple times. It seems like that happens with Hamilton a little bit. Obviously scary for a little bit because that would be absolutely terrible to lose him. This is a drive where Tua hits Waddle 2 plays in a row, one for 14, the next one for 24. A couple great anticipation throws from Tua. And they get all the way down to the 13, and they have a 3rd and 2, and Achane runs for no gain. I think it's pretty obvious here when you're running on 3rd and 2, you're going to be going for it on 4th down. And just a really weird play from Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins here. Slot fade to Achane. And the second the ball was out to his hand, you could tell it was way too far. I do think it was a route issue on Achane's part. And Herbstreit was like, oh, that's a great matchup for the Dolphins, like Achane on a 6'4" Kyle Hamilton. I'm like, Kyle Hamilton was kind of clamping him anyway. I don't think Achane's going to go Moss Hamilton. So this was the second time in the first half that the Ravens could have given up 6 points, anywhere to 14 points, and got away with 0. Bend but don't break is really showing out right now, Zach.
Yeah, and we talked about as a very specific stat that the Dolphins were really good on 3rd down and really bad on 4th down. 4th down percentage for them, one of the worst in the league. And tonight they're trying to stay in the game. If all their 4th down conversions happen tonight, this is a lot closer game. It might even be 1 score. So the whole outcome of the game is different, and they just are not on the same page. They weren't running the stuff that's easy for Tua and their team, but that's just the Dolphins discussion. So either way, just totally not impressed by that whole situation tonight, as in watching it for a whole game.
Yeah. Ravens get the ball back with a minute left. Go 3 and out.
Hey, wait. High Frequency is also talking about laughable commentating about that. He was being sarcastic, right? He had to have been.
Herbstreit? I don't think he was.
He had to have been.
I don't think he was.
Really?
And listen, I'm not like Chris. I
thought Almakis was laughing.
I mean, maybe. And I love Kirk Herbstreit, so like that's not a.
Oh yeah.
I'm not taking a dig or anything. I'm just saying. Hamilton on Achane. If Achane's running an angle or an in or a drag, yes, I'm taking Achane. If Achane's running a slot fade on Kyle Hamilton, that's not going to work most of the time. So, I don't know. But whatever. Dolphins get the ball with 30 seconds left in the timeout. Situation was handled not great by the Ravens because they had Zay Flowers was offsides, and that stopped the clock. And the Dolphins didn't have to use their final timeout, but it ended up not hurting the Ravens. It's good to see the growth. You know, the Bills scoring on that field goal before halftime back in week 1, and then they're able to hold the Dolphins here as they got to midfield. And then Mike Green and Ojabo combined for a sack on the final play before halftime, Zach. Let's
just kind of fell over too, right? I mean,
yeah, he take
the sack, buddy. Got a boy, on his own.
But you have to give. I remember like I was watching one of my friends, and I was like, Mike Green's gonna get credit for that sack. Like,
yeah, me too. I was pumped. Yes.
Let's take a minute here, Zach, to sort of talk about how we were feeling at halftime when the Ravens were up 14-6. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I just felt like the Finns should have been winning. They talked about it at halftime kind of briefly, but that's really all I have to say about it. Second half was a total turnaround, but first half was just kind of gross looking, and Ravens just took advantage as much as they could.
Comment from High Frequencies. Where's the chat at?
Hey, where's it at, chat?
No. Anyway, yeah. It felt like the Ravens. I mean, both teams were playing bad, in my opinion. Both teams were making mistakes. I have some stats written down here at halftime, some crazy stats. That just shows how much the Dolphins were dominating this game. Total yards, Miami 225, Baltimore 109. First downs, Miami 10, Baltimore 4. Total plays ran, Miami 39, Baltimore 23. Yards per play, Miami 5.8, Baltimore 5.7. Time of possession, Miami 18:59, Baltimore 11:01. Ravens had 10 carries for 30 yards. And the big difference was the Dolphins were over 2 in the red zone. At halftime, I just had written down Mike Green looks great, made a couple tackles. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. Mike Green was about to have like a -5-yard TFL on Achane or either Ollie Gordon right after a handoff under center, but the Dolphins had a false start. That was tough. That would have been a great play. I was so disappointed solely because of the fact that you wanted to see him actually make that play, even though he would have anyway. And then I had Stark circled down just because he made a lot of open field tackles. I don't think he finished with too many tackles today, but it was like all the tackles he did make felt big. Yeah, just 5 tackles today and a pass defense. But I swear all 5 of those tackles were, a big situation. There was one early in the first half where the Achane was out in space on the left side and he brought him down, made a couple plays on the screen coming up. And the Ravens had 0 first downs in the second quarter. When Lamar picked up that scramble on the third and 7, shout out to Jonas Schaefer for that tweet. It was the Ravens' first down since the first quarter, so not great. Roquan had 9 tackles at halftime. He played very well today. Want to take it to the second half, Zach? Ravens answer the bell here. 11 play, 68-yard drive. The big moment of this drive here, Zach, was 3rd and 6 at the Ravens' own 36. Lamar takes off for 13. We saw him sprinting on that hammy. Looked good to me. I think when he did run today, he looked good. You mentioned they didn't do any designed runs. I definitely agree. Well, they did one. They did the speed option when he didn't pitch it to Henry and lost a yard, I think. I didn't want to see any design runs today because it's just like there's no need right now. But it was good to see him pick up that first on a big down too. They're only up by 8 at that point. That was a big run right there.
And then defense follows it up with an excellent 3-and-out. That's a Brent Urban and Travis Jones sack. I was so at this point, I felt like there was just no chance the Dolphins could come back. Defense just getting there. That was a coverage sack if I've ever seen one. Brent Urban and Travis Jones winning theirs at that point was awesome, and I was pumped for them. And just to pin the Dolphins back even more when you need it, especially how I guess the beginning of the game was so weird with the what is it, coin flip? So
yeah,
now getting the ball back first, you score, stop them again, and then the next drive after that, 4 plays, 60 yards, touchdown.
Yeah, so the Ravens are up just 14-6 at the break. And they scored 2 touchdowns on the first 2 drives, combined with the Dolphins 3-and-out mixed in there. Cannot do it any better. Obviously, Kolar had the touchdown off the play action from the 3-yard line. And then you mentioned the Dolphins' next drive when Brent Urban got the sack and Travis Jones. Yeah. The 4-play, 60-yard drive, Zach. 9-yard run for Henry. 3-yard run for Mitchell. And then the 39-yard pass to Zay Flowers down the right sideline. I thought he was going to score. It was a very nice cutback. Barely got tripped up from behind. And then on the very next play, I believe the Ravens are going to run the ball here. 1st and goal at the 9. Lamar made a check to a play action pass, and Bateman got open over the middle. Great to see Bateman get a touchdown, especially after the frustration he was dealing with earlier in the game. But it's kind of cool here how we had a drive in the first half that was the tight ends, like Lean Andrews making 2 big plays. And then we have a receiver drive here with Flowers and Bateman making 2 big plays.
Yeah. And that was just an absolute dot from Lamar to
Yeah.
Zay. So
Yeah.
everything was firing on all cylinders at that point. Rust was shaken off from Lamar. It was like we're seeing the Ravens of old now with fully functioning on defense, fully functioning on offense too.
Yeah. And I don't know how I'm just realizing this, but the Dolphins didn't score the whole entire second half. After the Bateman touchdown, Dolphins have a 4-play, 18-yard drive. They had to punt because they're 4th and 9. They were sort of in a 4-down territory mode here, but when you're 4th and 9 near midfield, and when a field goal wins it, you're gonna have to punt the ball there. Ravens have the ball. We're nearing the end of the third quarter now, and Derrick Henry has his big run after being held pretty quiet so far. The 35-yard run to midfield, down the right sideline, I believe. Picked up speed. It still surprises me when Derrick Henry hits that second gear or even the third gear, if you want to call it that, and you're like, how is he that fast? Safety still had the angle there, but I wouldn't have been surprised if he took that one all the way.
Yeah, me too.
But a good run there, and the Ravens ended up punting. But in my opinion, so the Ravens are up by 22 at this point, which is 3 touchdowns, obviously, and 1 2-point conversion. I don't know about you, Zach, but my mind is just all over the Bills game. And I'm not going to be satisfied until the Ravens are up 4 scores.
Sure, yeah.
But this was a nice drive to take some time off the clock and at least reverse the field position. Even though they didn't score, it made me feel a lot better about where they were at. Because the Dolphins didn't get the ball back until, 19 seconds left in the third quarter. And after another great punt from Jordan Stout, had to start with the ball at their own 8. Tua did hit Malik Washington for 28 yards to start this drive. And then, the wheel to Achane, which was challenged by John Harbaugh and overturned to incomplete. That was pretty big because that would have gotten them down to the 32. I'm assuming you agree that was incomplete. When it was live, it definitely looked like a catch to me, but then when we saw that extra angle, ball definitely had some movement there. So shout out to John Harbaugh.
Great challenge.
Yeah, for the challenge there. Something new, James. And then this comes the second of 3 turnovers. Whereas, Zach, I don't know about you, but Dolphins are about to score with 11 minutes still left and only be down 15. I mean, that was a little bit of anxiety for me, especially after we're up 15 with 4 minutes left on the Bills and lose. We're about to be up 15 with 11 minutes left. But Teddy Buchanan and Marlon Humphrey kind of combined for a strip. I really don't know if you could say it was one or the other because Buchanan was kind of bringing him down and then Marlon kind of punched it out. But I think they both kind of had arms on the ball and on the guy's hands. But then Marlon also recovers it. So a great play from Teddy. Rookie Defensive Player of the Month. I think that surprised Ravens fans a little bit.
Yeah.
I think today was his best game of the season for Teddy.
Yeah, and you could even I want to argue that the first fumble of the game, if we're saying that this was a half-forced fumble for the second one, I think it was a half-forced fumble for the first one. I think he knocked it loose, and then Gilman kind of got the final punch again. So
yeah, Gilman ripped it.
Again, I would say it's a little of both for
both
of the fumbles.
Obviously, this isn't how statistics work, but with those 2 plays combined, you got to give Buchanan maybe 1 forced fumble.
1 full fumble. I like it.
But I do think they have it forced by Humphrey in the stat sheet, which I do think I agree with. That was, I don't know if I'd call it play of the game, but if the Dolphins scored there and are down just 2 touchdowns with 11 minutes left, I mean,
yeah, a little momentum.
That's going to be tough. And they had a first down when the fumble happened. So massive, massive play by Teddy Buchanan and Marlon Humphrey. One of the plays of the game for sure. And then the Ravens, just another drive, taking some time off. But it did start with a Derrick Henry 19-yard run, which was good to see. And then what's up, Prime Trust? And then Lamar took a sack on a 3rd and 5, which was a good decision, in my opinion, to keep the clock running. And we'll just finish it out here, Zach. Dolphins get the ball back with 8 minutes left. And after a couple plays, Tua lobs it up to Washington deep in the middle of the field. And I could not be a happier man watching this play happen. Malachi Starks goes up and basically mosses the receiver. I mean, I would love to see Malachi Starks on You Got Mossed Sunday morning. He's one-on-one deep in the middle of the field. And how many times do you see a Ravens DB not make the catch? Maybe even not make the catch. Maybe not even break up the pass. Maybe not even break up the pass. Maybe get the ball caught on them and the guy stays up and scores. And Malachi jumps up, kind of tips it to himself a little bit, picks the ball off. And I just want to mention, guys, like, I'm assuming you guys all watched Malachi Starks at Georgia, at least his highlights when the Ravens drafted him. And he had multiple plays down in Athens, Georgia, making a great play on the ball where he is not even arguably out jumping the receiver, out catching the receiver, however you want to phrase it. He has awesome ball skills. And this was really the first time I think we were able to see him in that situation. I don't really recall a time this year where a ball was thrown up to his area where he had a realistic chance to get the ball. Zach, I'll let you talk about our guy Malachi as well, as we were both very excited.
You nailed it, though. Like the college highlights that we'd seen from him at Georgia, they all looked exactly like that.
Yeah.
Like that was the Malachi Starks we bought. And I'm just so happy for him getting that play. We again in the preview had talked about how important it was for him to make a splash play, kind of shut up any doubter that there was. And that's a great comment from David. He's just developing. He's only gotten better, I think, every week. I mean, I can only imagine how week 1, if he'd caught that interception on Josh Allen, how the trajectory of all of this would have went. But right now, I feel great about how Starks looked and making this uber athletic kind of grab and fighting the receiver, winning the one-on-one, like you said, the pressure of that as a rookie late in the game. They're just wanting one big play, and you just snuff that out 110%. It was awesome. Just could not be happier for him.
Yeah, awesome play from Starks. And, just to kind of put a bow on it, we mentioned this early, but obviously, I mean, just to finish it out here, Lamar hits the play action pass to Kolar on a 3rd and 10. Derrick Henry runs a couple more times. The Ravens end up kneeling the ball out around midfield. But I was going to mention Starks and Green, and we already talked about this a little bit, but the two of them looking so great tonight, like, I feel awesome about those two guys right now. And you and I were not doubting them at all, but they were dealing with doubt from the fan base. And I think they were maybe mentally dealing with, even though they weren't giving up big plays, making mistakes, neither of them had made really the big play yet. And to see Green make a couple big tackles downfield today, get a half sack, and to see Malachi Starks get a pick and make a lot of big tackles as well. Almost like a very wholesome feeling for me just to see those two rookies have a great night.
And can I add another name into the mix?
Yeah.
Teddy Buchanan had a great night, at least statistically as well, after, getting crowned this defensive rookie of the month. Like, adding to the fact that he deserves to be in the conversation, that those three being key contributors to this defense and genuinely being asked of that as a rookie and then actually coming through with it. I'm just so happy for him. And like you said, it's a wholesome kind of moment with high frequencies commenting here. Wholesome. And it just feels good. It feels good to see the plays like that. It felt like the stars showed up when we needed them to. Humphrey and Hamilton and Roquan, they played the sound games that we needed them to play. And if we get that consistency, it lets the other guys, the other kind of depth pieces, not to say that those kind of rookies are depth pieces, but it lets the other starters shine. They get opportunities to be put in situations that they make the big play. And tonight, it just all came in a perfect storm, and it was awesome. Michael puts a good bow on it here. Great win.
What's up, Michael? Yeah, a comment from High Frequencies. Devin, I almost said Devin Hester had a good return tonight. Wester had a good return tonight. I think picked up a ball after bouncing and got, maybe not after bouncing, but it looked like a situation where you maybe should call a fair catch, and picked up 17 on the return there. So that was good to see. Travis Jones looked awesome tonight. He had a TFL, the half sack, 5 tackles, a lot of tackles near the line of scrimmage, plugging the gaps. There was a couple plays where I saw Jenkins get a little bit of penetration. Jones made the tackle on the back end. It's great to, I mean, the John Jenkins signing has been very good. Kind of just, I don't know if I'd call him a guy off the street, but similar to like the Clowney and Van Noy signings of the past, where he's just kind of available in July or August whenever they got him. And he's been great playing the nose position. And obviously Travis Jones, probably the best game of the season for him. Looks really healthy out there. I know he's been so banged up the past year and a half, and seeing Travis Jones be healthy and make plays has been awesome.
And even great comment from David. Brant Urban too in the mix.
Yeah, Urban
really just back. I guess the D line in general really stretching their freaking muscles tonight. Like it really was impressive, and how much the Ravens, how much the fan base has asked of them to produce. I guess near a Matabike level altogether, and I'd say tonight that was a absolute domination of a performance from them. I'm thrilled by it.
Along with the forced fumble, Marlon Humphrey had 2 PBUs. Roquan had 1. Roquan's PBU should have been a pick, but that is a very, very tough play to make as a linebacker. It was already a great play to get in the passing lane. But getting the pick would have been awesome. But it's a very tight, quick throw that receivers struggle to catch, and he's a middle linebacker. I haven't read Lamar's stat line yet. 18 for 23, 204, 8.9 yards per attempt, 4 touchdowns, was sacked twice for 16 yards, and a 143.2 quarterback rating. I believe he now has 18 passing touchdowns against the Dolphins in 5 games, which is second in NFL history of how many passing touchdowns you get in your first 5 games against a team. Crazy stat, but it's funny. Kind of just shows how dominant Lamar's been against Miami, besides the one dreadful game 4 years ago. I guess we'll go over, Zach, the final stats, because I talked about how bad the Ravens were at halftime. They really flipped it, because they were very behind in all these stats I'm about to read out at halftime, and they finished ahead in most of them. 18 first downs for Baltimore, 17 for Miami. Dolphins still ended up finishing with more plays ran total, 62 to 56. Dolphins, something I'm just seeing right now, 2 for 12 on third down. So great job today from the Ravens defense getting off the field. Ravens had 338 total yards. Dolphins had 332. Ravens had 6 yards per play. Dolphins had 5.4. Ravens with 150 rushing yards. Both teams had 5 penalties, and Ravens ended up winning the time of possession. So let's go back to this, Zach. The time of possession at halftime: Miami 18:59, Baltimore 11:01. Time of possession at the end of the game: Baltimore 31-43, Miami 28-17. So the Dolphins had under 10 minutes of possession in the second half. So beautiful execution and ball hogging from Ravens offense in the second half.
Ball hogging. That's good.
Second half, Ravens win 14-0. Got any other thoughts, Zach? Any comments from anyone? Let's see. I feel like there's been some comments I've missed that I wanted to talk about.
I think there's definitely been some about, trade situation for, the week. I mean, we're going to have a pod probably Tuesday, but that'll be post trade deadline, so maybe we'll have some news to break or maybe some topics to discuss. But either way, we can maybe give our final thoughts about that, I guess. Someone was saying an interior guy, I think Zrebic, Ravens Collective, was saying that that's kind of the dream scenario for the Ravens, an elite inside guy. I still think the most likely one is a edge guy. I think everyone that wants a deal to happen between, I don't know, now and maybe Sunday or maybe tomorrow, I guess, it's just not going to happen. I think even this week, a bunch of teams are still swaying between if they're going to be competitors, buyers, sellers. Whenever those games end Sunday night, I think everything will start to begin with trade talks. And then kind of if DaCosta specifically wants to push his chips into giving up high capital or giving up, any capital to acquire somebody. I would say that edge is the most likely because there's just so many guys out there in the league and some teams are just riddled with a lot of them. So I'd say that's my most likely scenario, even though I would definitely accept some interior help as well.
Real quick before we get back to that, and I hate to say something negative, but a thought I had that I wanted to get out. Pat Ricard really struggled tonight. I don't know if you noticed, but
I noticed a couple times, like twice.
A couple times in pass pro really got put on his butt. Just a couple blocks in the run game. I don't want to like harp on that, but I don't want to leave the show without saying something that I did notice. Obviously probably still rusty coming off that injury, but great to have him back nonetheless. Yeah, in terms of trades, I feel like the trade deadline is a little too early. Like, I don't think that's crazy to say. I feel it. I mean, I guess you know who's a contender and who's not by now. We're not used to the Ravens being 3-5 and maybe a good team at the same time. That's pretty rare situation to be in. So maybe it's just because of that. But I do think the trade deadline should be pushed back a little bit. I was watching the Exit 52 podcast, and Spencer Schultz was basically saying, if one of these top interior defensive linemen go for just a 1 or a 2 and a 3 or a 2 and a 4, and the Ravens weren't the team that traded for them, he was basically saying they don't want to win a Super Bowl. And you can't disagree with that. Like, if Quinnen Williams ends up getting traded for a first-round pick, or even like a first and a fourth, and the Ravens don't make that trade, I would be disappointed.
Quinnen Williams has not had a great year, though, right? I mean,
I think he's been good.
Maybe it's just the Jets too.
I think it's the fact that he's on the Jets.
Yeah. But even then, I mean, a first-round pick in a year that's still you're 3-5. I'm a little cautious about that. I'd say the most I'd be willing to move is a second because we haven't had the best luck in that department.
I would move it first because we do not think Matabike is going to be back. And you need to get a top interior D lineman in the offseason anyway. So might as well get one now and have him for the rest of this season, along with the seasons to come. Interior D line is a need. Edge is also a need. I think if the Ravens want to win a Super Bowl this year, and I'm talking about the front office, not the players or the coaches. If the Ravens want to win a Super Bowl this year, you either need to go get like a B edge and like a B- interior D lineman, or vice versa, or get an A interior D lineman and a B edge. Like, I don't know, trade a second-round pick for an interior D lineman and trade a fifth for a solid rotational edge rusher that can help out along with Carl Lawson. Like, I think you need to make two moves, and one is a D lineman and the other is edge rusher.
I'm going to go against the grain. I've got a really bad feeling they're not going to make a deal.
Not even one.
Not even one. I think Gilman was a big help. And if that happened, tomorrow instead of, 2 weeks ago, whenever that was, we'd be sitting here pretty happy. At least we made a move. But as much as we all think that we really need a deal, the front office wants to make a deal. Harbaugh even saying this week in a press conference that him and DeCosta have regular conversations, regular dialogue about a trade. Like, all the evidence points towards the Ravens making a move. I think they're making the calls. They're doing their due diligence, but I have a weird feeling that they just aren't going to do it. I think that they might keep their cards close to themselves and hold out. Maybe, a Lawson comes in next week and provides a little bump that you could be asking for. But overall, the team is in a groove right now, and saying that you're going to enter in another, interior D lineman when they've really hit their stride all of a sudden, that's a little uneasy feeling as well.
Yeah, I think you got to make a move. I would make two because of the fact that you need these guys for next year. We've talked about how troubling their roster looks next year, Zach, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And you trade for these guys not only to be better this year because you're really struggling on the D-line and on the edge, you also need guys for next year. So if you can trade for guys, extend them, or they're already under contract for the next couple of years, that would be ideal. Two tweets I want to talk about, both about Lamar Jackson. From Doug Clausen, Lamar Jackson has the highest passer rating in a quarterback's first 5 games of a season all time, 136.7. 14 touchdowns, 1 pick this season. Last 2 years now, 55 touchdowns and 5 picks. So insane stuff. And then the other tweet from Ravensflock20, Lamar Jackson missed a month of football. He has more touchdown passes than Josh Allen. Just wanted to throw that out there. Thought it was a bit funny. Anything else, Zach?
I think we're good. I like these comments. Happiest 3-5 team of all time.
It is funny.
I agree.
If you were to tell me in August the Ravens are going to be 3-5, and we were going to be having a joyful post-game reaction in late October, I would have said something is wrong with you. But here we are. Obviously, a lot of it has to do with Lamar Jackson coming back and looking awesome. And the other part being that the Ravens have now won 2 in a row. And
you'd have thought we were like firing Harbaugh. You'd be like, yes, okay, actually, I'll do that. You'd be like, yeah.
Probably would have thought that.
I guess we would have thought both, yeah.
But anyway. Appreciate you guys. Let's do some shout-outs, Zach.
Heck yeah. Prime
Nate
Trust.
Blake.
High frequencies. Are we going bar for bar here?
You got it.
Okay. Michael Mockler, high frequencies just mentioned. Khalil Balling. Well, shout out Prime Trust, like you mentioned. David F. Newt James. Clevel was in here.
KP, Eli, Hash Brown Productions.
David Soria. Appreciate you for coming.
Mad Rasta, Khalil. Bilal.
Yeah.
David F. You said high frequencies, right?
Yes, sir. I think that'll do it.
Everyone. Appreciate you guys for being here. Anyone who didn't comment and was watching and supporting us. Nate wants to know about the Vikings. We will do a Q&A next week and a preview next week. But let's get some quick thoughts out there. JJ McCarthy is going to be starting. We'll get to watch them on Sunday, though. So I think I'll have a lot more thoughts after that because we haven't seen JJ McCarthy play in a while.
Yeah.
Unless you have anything else to add, Zach. Like, I think, who do they play this weekend? The Lions. They play the Lions this weekend. So we'll see how JJ plays. And we'll definitely have a lot more thoughts after that. But appreciate all you guys for commenting and chatting with us in this one. Appreciate everyone for watching who was not chatting and supporting us quietly. Hit the like button, guys. Helps us out a ton. Hit the subscribe button if you liked what you watched. Great win. Ravens improved to 3-5 on the year. Happy Halloween, guys. It is officially Halloween for those on the East Coast. 12:22 a.m. And yeah, everyone have a great time tomorrow/today with whatever you end up doing. Stay safe. And appreciate you guys for watching. See you next time. Peace.
Peace.